welcome to the bi-weekly meeting podcast for the OWASP Generative AI Security Project. If you'd like to stay up to date with our project, please click subscribe. And if you enjoy the content or have any questions, please feel free to comment and share. Now, on to our meeting.
All right, everybody, welcome to the July 2nd, otherwise known as the pre-US July 4th meeting of the OWASP GenAI project. GenAI Security Project? GenAI Security Project. I'm going to get this right eventually now that it's not the top 10 anymore. But lots of activity going on. We've shipped out some new things that's getting a lot of attention on social media, and I'm sure we'll go over that today. And Scott, I don't think we've had a meeting since you and I were in New York, have we? Maybe we can go over that a little bit too. So
we haven't, no. And so I do have a slide for New York, so we can talk about New York and sort of what we did there.
Cool. Let's dive in.
Okay. So again, welcome. Do you want to welcome folks here who are new, and anybody here on the call that's new to the group, or your first call?
Please introduce yourself. It's your first time on the call.
Yep.
Hi everyone, this is Avinash from India. So I'm running this session for the first time.
Welcome.
Yeah, hi, I'm Michael Gallagher. Laura, who's on the call, invited me, but I work at Early Warning, and yeah, first time. Very interested in Gen AI, so you have my attention.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm John Cotter. I work for Bentley Systems. We've been using some of the Gen AI guidance, and I noticed this meeting. So I'm a security architect for the organization. And this is the first meeting.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name's Imran. I work for a UK insurance and an automotive company. I've joined a few before, but yeah, this is my third one. I think I found them all really interesting.
That's great.
I'm Robert Watson. I'm the operational security lead for a Lenovo hybrid cloud platform, and we're introducing more and more sort of AI products, as it were. So I guess we're looking for a bit more guidance and support for implementing AI solutions.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hey everyone, Kyle with Conagra Foods based out of Omaha, and I'm the AI security lead for the company, so here just to learn some more and do some implementation.
Hey guys, my name is Chris McNeese. I'm a senior engineer in application security for a fintech company, and AI is exploding over here, so I am preparing and learning.
Hi all, I'm William Rayer. I've attended probably, it's been months, so I have been tardy, but I'm a director of security at a consultancy based in Reston called Modus Create.
Welcome.
My name is Kyle Hafner. I work with Cable Labs. It's a research and development lab for the cable industry, and we're doing a lot with AI and want to secure it.
Wow, lots of new people. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Once, twice, 3 times. All right, let's continue.
All right. So we'll start out by letting everybody know that we did release the Q2 update of the project roadmap. So if you're not familiar with this, we every quarter will update our project-wide roadmap. This has all of the work products that the different working groups are working on. So it's a great opportunity to do 2 things. One, I'll see what the project teams are working on, as well as also look and see, hey, where this is an area I'm interested in, here's how I can potentially contribute. And the way to do that is just simply join the Slack channel and raise your hand. So that's the best way to kind of get engaged. So each quarter we do an update of the roadmap, so that we can have sort of the latest, or at least the quarterly latest. Each of the dates here you see are the target publication dates, target publication months. I'm sometimes asked, is this when they're starting the work? But this is actually when we're looking to publish the work. So, but there's always opportunities for contribution, for feedback, and dive right in. So
Well, I got some quick feedback. So, just quickly, when I look at it, it's a low res version on the page, and for me unreadable. And it'd be good if we could sort of double click into a higher res version or something. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep. It could also be the website squeezing the image. So we can also I'll go back and take a look at with the web team and see if we can get a little clearer
Perfect. Thanks.
depiction.
The problem with having so much stuff, you can't even fit it on a screen anymore.
Well, that's what I thought. A high res version you can download and look at or something maybe.
Yeah, actually, Scott, maybe even just having in addition,
Table?
if we fix the image, we could have maybe a downloadable PDF or something.
Yeah, I think that might be my first fix to it. See if I can ask the web team to just create a link to download the PDF. Then that'll be our easiest fix on it. So thanks Russell for the heads up on that. We'll get that fixed. Like you said, we've got so much on here now that it becomes difficult to read unless we blow it up almost full screen like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so I want to just ask if any of the leads have any comments on this. I think we pulled everybody's updates, so
yeah, I'll just comment briefly. Ads and I did have a discussion. I don't think Ads is on today, but about the core top 10 list. I think we both agreed we're not feeling a lot of pressure to update it right now. It's still feeling relatively fresh, given it was 9 months ago that we updated it. There's a lot new going on in the space, but we're covering a lot of that through things like the agentic guides and things like that. So there's just not a lot of pressure. It will get stale at some point, though, and there will be a lot of stuff to add to it. We're feeling right now like the best balance is we will probably announce the kickoff of the project for the next version sometime in Q4. We're going to try to execute on this one much more quickly than the last version of the list. And I think in hindsight, I let that project drag on too long. We wound up with a really good result, but I think I initially felt like if we took more time with it, it would be better. And instead, taking more time with it just made it take more time, and it was kind of painful. I think we can continue to maintain a very high quality level with a faster project turnaround, and that's always been our strength. So we're gonna announce it and then try to execute on it and do it in that kind of 2 to 3 month window that we've been successful with before. So everybody just keep that in mind if you are interested in contributing to that. Again, don't expect to see a lot of activity this quarter. We're just kind of observing as things move along. Then we'll get that announced, though, and we will move aggressively, and we'll be clear with everybody if you want to get in and contribute to that project because it is a fun one. We'll be advertising that broadly. And then we'll call that the 2026 version of the list with the target to publish it in Q1.
That sounds great. Yeah, and I know we are doing, so there's going to be, as part of our landscape and solution tracking, we're going to put out a query to all the vendors who have implemented the list as part of their reporting and their projects. Because we do know there are a lot of companies that have taken the list and made it part of reports. So that'll hopefully also give us some insight, Steve, into kind of who is going to be impacted, because I know they like to know if you've got it built into your product, kind of what the timeline is. And so we'll have some of that that'll come through this month. We'll do some queries out of that.
Awesome.
So with a lot of stuff, wrong way. A lot of stuff, July is already packed with releases. So this is what's currently slated for release this month. So we've got the group 2 of the LM translations, and I just saw that those are pretty much ready to go. Some last tweaks on those to finalize the layout, and those will be ready to go. Our agentic threats and mitigations 1.1, that'll be coming out. We also have a report that the agentic working group put together, sort of a state of the agentic market, and that will be coming out. That's will be a good resource for people looking to see kind of broadly what's happening in the agentic AI space. And while we're doing things with the solutions guide, which does include some of the agentic piece, this drills down a bit more in detail. The LLM, the incident response guide. I do also have seen that we're pretty close to ready to wrap that up. That's very detailed guide. We're getting a lot of really good response from people who've been looking at the early drafts. So if you have an opportunity, take a look at the not early draft, the late draft. Have a look at it. Join the AI incident response channel and have a look. And then I think Sandy will talk about the Compass coming up here, but that's also something we have slated for July. So July will be busy. This will be a busy summer. All right, so I'll go transition over into some of our outreach that we've been doing. Just one quick milestone. So just as our community continues to grow, I just like to capture and share these milestones. We've got a little over 11,000 followers as of yesterday on our LinkedIn channel, and this just helps us understand kind of how the community is growing and if we're reaching people that we need to reach. So want to thank everybody in the community for jumping in and being part of this. This has been a little bit of a rocket ship as we've kind of ridden this community out, and it wouldn't be what it is today without all of your help. On the outreach side, here's our slide, Steve. So we can talk a little bit about our United Nations experience. We were really fortunate to get invited to participate in United Nations Open Source Week a couple weeks back. Is that a couple weeks ago? How long ago was that?
I think it was a week ago Friday.
Week ago Friday, that's right. Yeah. So week ago Friday. So we very fortunate to participate in this. We had a couple of sessions as part of it. So both a panel session and a session that Steve conducted on kind of the AI risks and safeguards. We also did a little bit of splash too. We wanted to take the opportunity to promote the project where we were. So also we ran ads on Times Square highlighting both the project and highlighting our sponsors. We had the one there that we were running across. Then we also did prepare an ad which I'll just share real quickly, which was on the which was for the NASDAQ stack. So, so we did have an opportunity to really get out and promote the project in a major way. The NASDAQ one was one we prepared and didn't quite get out the door, but it was something we're helping to drive the more visibility with the project. Steve, you want to comment?
Yeah, this was really cool. I think, Scott, this came in through sort of mutual contacts from the Linux Foundation. How did we get?
Yeah, this was a joint kind of effort between the Linux Foundation. If you recall, you may not recall, but for RSA, we partnered with the Linux Foundation with the OASIS group to do a session that was around open source kind of community collaboration. Out of that, we started to look at different places where we could contribute. So we found that the United Nations Open Source Week was coming up. Both OWASP was starting to get engaged, and then also our partnership with the Linux Foundation. So we came together to support this event.
Yeah. So I think the concept that we would do this had been kicking around for a while, and it was on our radar, but it didn't really come together till very late in the game. And I think Scott and I made call it a game time decision around Monday that we were doing this. It was a little unfortunate because there was, if you look at the title here, it was Open Source Week at the UN, and there was a lot of activities going on throughout the week. And we could have gone and gotten involved in a lot more of those, but we wound up on the schedule for Friday. So we traveled on Thursday, then Friday we spent the whole day with the group. It was very interesting because it was neither an AI conference nor a cybersecurity conference nor a tech conference, really. And obviously it's open source week. There's a technology slant, but it's the UN, so there's a much different slant, much more human focus, community focus, much more international than even these large events that we do like RSA and Black Hat, which do have international attendees. And Scott was in a track that was around supply chain security, which is a big deal for open source, and talked a lot. Obviously, we've had that on our lists since the very first one was supply chain risks specific to AI, and that was a great discussion. I was in a track about AI and AI risk, And so I got 30 minutes to introduce our work. Did a combination of introducing the project as well as going through briefly some of the risks just to get people socialized to them. I think this not being a sort of technical cybersecurity crowd, it was new to a lot of people, although OWASP was familiar to a lot of the attendees, which was good. I find that a lot these days.
Yeah, it was surprising. I was surprised too how many people, when I asked during in our panel session who knew about OWASP, there was a pretty strong response in the
Yeah.
room, which was really good. And as you said, it was a different audience with a different set of goals, but I think it's been a good opportunity to bring people up to speed and to do some outreach related
Yeah.
to folks who are not familiar with some of
But
this.
got to get involved in some things that were way out of normal for us. In the AI risks section, there was a group led by someone who had an African accent, but I don't remember what country it was, but it was basically a simulation of what do you do when the government wants to roll out mandatory AI-backed health tracking in your country? And how do you feel about that? And people got assigned different roles, whether you were the health minister, the tech company implementing it, and kind of had mock debates about that and assessed risks. And apparently that's an exercise they've been taking around the world to socialize how you have these debates and what some of the risks are. So high level risk up at the top of the stack, cybersecurity becomes part of that. I would say it was really interesting. There was a lot of concern around certainly privacy being top of stack, and sort of our low level cybersecurity stuff is implicit in that. So anyway, it was a really great opportunity. I think it's nice to see that our work can walk into a high level international group and speak to it just as well as kind of a more typical cybersecurity audience, and that we can retarget it really easily. And also, we got a lot of great feedback afterwards. Scott's showing some stuff from our own social media postings, but there were a lot of people at the conference who attended one or the other of our sessions who included us in their postings around the week, which was great.
Yeah, I think I think it also has opened up more opportunities for us to have conversations with this community too. There's some follow-on interest that we're going to be following up on. And as Steve, as you said, it was one of those where we've been kind of tracking it for a while. It just kind of came together a little bit at the last minute, but hence our Friday show. But the opportunity, I think, in the future to do more is great. And it definitely, as you said, resonated with a lot of folks. So that's any other comments you want to make?
No, let's keep going.
All right. So upcoming, couple more things from the outreach working group. So we've got Black Hat and DEFCON activity. So we are going to have, thanks to event sponsor with Tenable, we will have an event on the 6th. We've got a session from basically 3 to 5. We're trying to stretch it to 6 at the Four Seasons, where we'll have sort of an introduction. We'll dive into some of the project updates. And more importantly, we're going to have a beer networking reception. That's the most important part of it. So, but before that, we'll talk about some stuff in case people are interested. So that's happening on Wednesday the 6th from 3 to 6 p.m. Feel free to register for that if you're going to be at Black Hat or DEFCON. That next Friday, we'll be hosting a hackathon with Ali and Helen and Jason, and I've been working to kind of coordinate that. So in the OWASP Village, we'll be hosting this hackathon at the Las Vegas Convention Center. They'll be working on the first part of it will be, creating some insecure agents. Ali and Helen are going to go over their Fembot project and provide some guidance on how to get started and what kind of risks to look at related to that. We'll have some scanners on site that'll kind of allow us to, once we've built these agents, be able to detect the vulnerabilities. And then the winners will get added to our Hall of Fame, Agentic Hall of Fame, and receive some plaques for the top 3. So that'll be happening there on the Friday. And then I believe Jason Ross is going to be will be presenting a red teaming session. We're working on finalizing the timing for that because he's also running around the DEFCON, taking care of a lot of other things. So that's kind of what we have slated for this upcoming Black Hat and DEFCON. I don't know if Jason, I didn't look to see if Jason was online, if you wanted to comment, or if not, we'll keep going.
It looks exciting. Let's keep going though.
The next thing we have coming up after that is we have, with our partnership with the Cyber Risk Alliance, we have announced our date for our virtual conference. So we'll be hosting, in partnership with the Cybersecurity Summit from the Cyber Risk Alliance, a virtual summit. This has been something that we continue to get asks for. So we decided to go ahead and partner with them to do that. And so this will be happening on October 9th. It'll be basically a half-day summit where we'll have 3 tracks and have the opportunity to kind of go through both new research, talk about some of the solution areas, focusing on 3 key areas around agentic, red teaming, and CISO and governance as part of the track. So there'll be a call for papers opening soon, and soon that means this week. And then all sponsorship proceeds. So there's a combination of our existing sponsors participating, but also the opening up the opportunity for other sponsors to participate. All the proceeds are donated to the project to help us continue to fund the project work and the team kind of going forward. Just kind of closing out our events coming up. So on October the 27th, we do have sessions at the InfoSec World in Orlando, in case you happen to be, or Lake Buena Vista, Florida. So if you happen to be in that area and want to come by, we'll have more details as we get closer on that event. And then in November, we have the OWASP Global AppSec that's happening in Washington, D.C. There'll be a couple of sessions there. And so we'll have more details as that finalizes as well. Last thing I'd like to mention real quick is since John is not going to be on the call, John is working with Kainos. They're going to be his company, and they're going to be sponsoring a hackathon in London. So more details coming on that. But just as we're doing the one in Las Vegas, there'll be another agentic hackathon happening in London. Details to come. So if you're in the UK and want to come participate, we'll have more details. Okay, that's all for me.
Keep going, Sandy or Rock.
Yeah. So, some good news. Had discussions with the team over the last week. We made a lot of progress. The team got really busy with great ideas right when I was trying to finalize everything. So I said, hey, I'm going to freeze it. Let's publish what we have, get it out the door, and then start working on version 2. So version 1 of OWASP Compass, which is the workbook and the runbook, is frozen. I'm doing some final cleanup on the runbook. At the bottom, you'll see if you'd like a copy of it, you can make a copy of it by going out to that link. And I want to say thank you to everyone. I mean, this was a pretty complex idea that it took me quite a bit of time to get it out so everyone could start contributing to it, but we have it at that place. I want to, huge thank you to Rock, because a lot of our calls was, me ranting and him trying to keep me on track. Sabrina has been really amazing. So thank you to Vulcan, contributed some amazing stuff. Krishna was the person who kept pushing me, saying I had a great idea and to keep working on it. So thank you to everyone who's provided input and feedback and contributed. So so the next steps is I need to work with the publishing team to get the actual runbook, the PDF, published. So I've made contacts with them and I'm working on that. So next slide, Scott. And so this planning we do have a Compass meeting tomorrow, and we'll start planning for version 2. Beneath, in the Slack channel, he talked about how easy it would be for him to convert it to a website. That would be wonderful. We've had people talking about, improved mapping of the incidents. Sabrina had some great ideas. Will Rogers had a ton of ideas, and Rock, of course, is always just brilliant. So he had some thoughts around actually rolling up the scoring. So, any questions from anybody?
Yes. Yes, Sandy, I'd say also, if you want to look at putting it on a website, we also do have a web team that we have funded, so we can have them do some of the work if we decide we want to go down that path.
Okay, he was going to kind of automate everything, was kind of where he was headed with it. But if it's something, once we get the mock-up idea, and then we'll definitely work with our website team to get it out onto our website.
Yeah, it's not a static website. It's essentially taking Compass and putting it up into almost like a SaaS app for multi-tenancy. Because what we found is, especially as we were trying to put a dashboard in front of this, right? So that way a user has a quick view around this. The second we started adding like any entries beyond ranges that we identify in tables to create the dashboards, it breaks. So trying to make it a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah, regardless of how you build it, I think you're going to want to hang it off the website somewhere or other.
Yeah, yes.
That's where people come. So we should just coordinate it.
Yep.
Yeah, and we do have funding for things like that. So you're still going to need like a place to host it. You're still going to need the underlying infrastructure. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everything we do just goes to that one website, although we would link off of it. But we do have the ability to kind of get the infrastructure in place, so we don't have to cobble it together too much.
And that's for you and for us, because if you guys have to pay out of your pocket for infrastructure, well, that kind of sucks. The other one is, sadly, we've had things in the past where people paid out of pocket for infrastructure, which at the time was amazing, and we were super happy for a few months, and then they disappeared with the keys to it and everything.
Stop paying.
And then we have orphan project. So I think we just want to make sure it's coordinated, no matter what deciding is the right thing to build.
Yeah, and we are consolidating all the credentials and everything for everything that we have, so that we have the ability to have that pass on as folks kind of have the opportunities as things come and go. People sometimes need to go do other things or have other priorities. We have all that currently centralized, so that that can be handed off to the next person up. So we want to keep that as part of our standard policy for anything we build as a community project. And so let's make sure we're coordinating on that. I love the idea. We just play a little bit on the implementation side, make sure we've got it.
Yeah. So Sandy, going back to my perpetual question for this, have you guys planned a blog or something to announce this and decided what the headline is?
Yes. Yes, I will definitely do a blog. I mean, it's been, as you guys can all imagine, I mean, anytime you have a really great big idea, take a deep breath, because this is one idea that I've put a lot of time into, and it kind of was a lot harder than I initially thought. So yes, I definitely have a blog. I definitely want to work on getting it out there. One of the things that Rock and I have talked about as we go out into the CISO community, really with this first version, a lot of it is helping people understand the methodology, because it's really a workbook. It's full of things it provides, but it actually is helping them with the methodology, because my experience has been, when I step out of our AI kind of world and talk with normal people, they're still pretty confused and they don't know where to get started. And this really is an opportunity to give them a path. And so yes, definitely have blogs. I showed it to
I would like to have a little bit more of a launch plan for this. So a blog is good. We also have CISO roundtables that are accessible to us. through our CRA partnership, which would be a great idea to kind of do that. Have some videos to be able to guide people through.
We have videos.
Talk about that.
So let's take a little bit of time and map out what a launch might look like, so that we have the social pieces, we have the blog pieces.
Going back to the core of my question, it wasn't so much about whether we would write a blog. And don't answer this. Just know that it's the question that I'm going to keep asking, which is, what is the headline for the blog?
Yeah, no, I think, Sandy, didn't we settle on something like responsible AI deployment or something like that?
So again,
I think we need to have something a little bit.
I'm going to get this out.
Yeah.
But the way that this is named, it is unique because every other thing that we've done in this project is self-describing. It is the agentic security guide. It is the red teaming guide. It is the CISO checklist. This one, it's not obvious what it is. And I think there's a bunch of brilliant ideas in here. And I don't want you to launch it and have it fall flat because people don't know what it is and what to do with it. The very act of how you decide to crunch it down and describe it is the difference between it going viral, like some of the other things you've produced have, and it just sitting on a shelf. So we got to make sure we nail that down, and that can be part of the launch plan that we build with Scott. But you guys have put so much work into this. And again, if you just took the name of this thing, it's not at all self-describing. No one will know what to do with it. And you don't get them to look at it without knowing what to do with it. They have to be excited by the short version to go invest the time to learn the big thing.
Yep.
Well, it really is a compass. I mean, that's the mission, is to help
that
people
doesn't make any
navigate
sense to me.
AI.
That means nothing to me.
Okay.
That's why I keep emphasizing this. We keep going around and keep saying it's this, and I keep saying that doesn't mean anything to anybody but you.
Okay. No, I love the feedback, Steve. We will. I'm determined to delight and excite you about this.
It's not about exciting me. It's about me wanting to make sure that all this work you guys are investing winds up in another viral hit and that we get lots and lots of traction because it's clearly important stuff.
That's why I think figuring out how do we bring it into the market. So the name is one piece, but you can also then create a definition for that name. So we can work on it.
And I think that's the key part. I don't object to the name. It's just that if that's going to be the name, it needs a really strong subhead that's going to make it clear in a very pointed way who it's for and why they want to read it. And
I think the subhead is a good starting point, but I think we also then need to back it up with some content to kind of help people transition, because there's a lot of stuff. It does a lot of things. And I think part of the challenge when you have something that's complex is distilling it down to get the hook, to get people engaged, and then having a way that logically translates into next steps for them.
Okay. Yep. No, taken. I mean, and again, the mission is to bring all of the other things that we're doing. It ties the agentic work, it ties the OWASP top 10, it ties the threat intelligence, it ties the red teaming, it ties all of those together into a single document and workbook so people can start orchestrating it and actually making it, building a strategy and making it operational. So that's the purpose, is taking the words off the page and actually putting them to work within your organization.
So we need to find a way to make that dense so that, the way all these things get around these days is social media. You don't get a chance to explain you get a lot of chances to explain this to a handful of people and they get it. And that's why people are attracted to your project. But we can't get it to 100,000 people where you have to explain it to everybody. We need a way to make that self-evident, which makes it automated, which makes it viral. And if we don't get that, then we're going to be sad because it's so important.
Well, and I think, Sandy, you take the description you just gave, 30 words, 50 words, key areas, ask AI for a 3-word summary, right? I mean, it can do that. So.
Yep. No, yes. And again, I really would like to invite everyone to our Slack channel. This project really is at a point where people can really take kind of what we've done and build from it. So please join us. I'll make sure the meeting and a link to the Compass is in there. I'm really trying to keep the Slack channel updated so people can easily jump in. So please, if you've got great ideas, great insight, I think my idea bank is a little bit drained right now, so I'm ready for other people's big ideas.
And I think for doing things like announcing and that sort of thing, we're using the outreach channel as a way to make sure we're consolidating all of our planning for all of that. So
Okay.
I think you're invited to that as well, Sandy.
I am. I'm on there.
So we want to just make sure we can kind of do that planning through that meeting. So if we can work there for getting the naming and that sort of thing, that would be great.
Yeah, there's still some massaging to get it published. I need to work with that team, so that's kind of the next big hurdle. But definitely, as soon as we get through that step, then we can start. I'll make sure I work with you directly, Scott, on announcing and getting ready for it and that kind of thing. So
right, because we're also wanting to make sure we set it up on a Google account that the project controls, that we can make sure people can copy from, etc., and set up that whole thing that we talked about.
Yep, I heard that from Steve. Yep, I agree. Yep.
Cool. This is awesome.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of work. So we want to just, all of us, I think Steve is saying it, I'm saying it, we just want to make sure we're getting the biggest reach and bang for all the work that's been done on this. So
I appreciate you guys so much. And Steve, I love your feedback. I mean, you are the master. I really do appreciate it.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Any other comments, Sandy?
That's it from me.
Okay. So I think that's all we have for slides. So is there any other business that folks want to bring up at this time that we didn't cover today?
Hey, I got one quick thing to share, Scott. If you want to pop down the slides real quick, I'll just share this. So I know I'm periodically bringing updates on my little side project to educate people about the topics we talk about here. So I've previously shared this playground project that I built that illustrates things like, guardrails that you might want to build on your large language models. What I introduced this week, I got a lot of feedback. People were having fun playing with it, but some people didn't really know where to start. So I built what I called the lab book. And it breaks things down into 5 different labs with 17 total exercises ranging from beginner to advanced that walk you through getting a basic working knowledge of GenAI security. So this isn't going to get you into the depths of the latest agentic research or red teaming topics, but, should get you familiar with a lot of the concepts that are in the top 10 or my book, which are both referenced down here. And, when you click into one of these, you get a little overview, you get several exercises that range from, inspecting blobs of code to going into the app and running some experiments. And so if any of you have people who are trying to get up to speed on this stuff or trying to do training around it, feel free to share that around. Both the lab book and the core playground app are all open source and up on my GitHub.
I have a quick question, Steve.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
For the sandbox platform that you showed, are there any license restrictions?
No, it's MIT licensed. Knock yourself out. You can use, there's a bunch of the exercises that run totally locally in the browser with simulated large language models that are built on an ELIZA model, if you're old enough to remember what that is. For the LLM ones, you don't need a license from me, but you need an OpenAI API key, and you just drop it in and all of the AI powered stuff fires up. And that key is only between you and OpenAI. There's no back end to that playground.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions today?
All right.
All right.
So much exciting stuff going on. It's amazing all the work everybody here is doing. I don't think we had anybody here from the agent team today, but hopefully they'll be watching the recording, doing so much awesome stuff. I continue to see progress on the red teaming team working on new stuff. And obviously we've got the Compass team here today, which I think is going to introduce something that's going to be really, really amazing. Just thanks to everybody. Love seeing so many new people here today. I've already gotten some LinkedIn requests and things. Just a reminder for everybody, actually, maybe this is the good way to close it, given the new people who are here. So just a reminder in case, people got here through a lot of different routes. This genai.owasp.org is the master website for our project, and we talked about that a little bit. If you go here to getting started, you will find things like the meeting links here. By the way, we did a bunch of cleanup on the GitHub site and the wiki to make sure things pointed over here and weren't duplicated in old ways. But the contributing piece here, what I often get is people who hear about the project, they reach out to me and ask me, what can I do to help? And inevitably what I do is I point them at this URL. This is your place to start. This shows you how you can get into the Slack channels that we talked about, a reminder about the meetings. And another reminder about this for any of the project leads, if you want to add specific channels and things here, this is obviously a lot of this is focused on that original core project, but we should add the sub projects here. If you want to add anything, probably just coordinate with Scott and the web team, and we should add those additional Slack channels, resources, because we want people to know all the places they can come contribute. But for anybody who's new, please do start here. This will get you a lot of the base places to plug in.
Yeah, and as far as the other initiatives go, Steve, I'm going to scroll up a little bit since you've got and you can go to each and see what the different initiatives are. So just click on initiatives up there at the top. And each initiative has a section. So you can see who are the actual, what are some of the assets there, what's the channels you need to get involved with, who the leads are, so you can reach out to them as well through LinkedIn or through Slack, and you can jump into the particular Slack channels for each one of those.
Combination of those two resources. The first one will show you how to get your invitation to the OWASP Slack channel and things like that. Once you have that, here's all the specific channels depending on what work you want to provide. I got one reach out during the meeting already saying they wanted to be involved in the agentic work. Here you go. Here's where you go to get started. Here's the team leads. Here's the Slack channel. Dive in.
Yeah, and if you aren't familiar with where the roadmap is that we talked about earlier, since you had the screen up there, Steve, if you want to just kind of point, since you're driving the website, I'll drive it remotely here. We'll just go under project.
Yep.
And then you'll see the roadmap. And so we'll add a quick PDF download of this so that you can download it. But this is the same roadmap that I shared earlier, kind of where our localization is. And as you scroll all the way down, once again, we have another place where you can see the leads and the channels and working groups to get engaged with. So we try to keep this up to date. So we have this in multiple places so you can get engaged with the project. If you're looking to learn and catch up, go to Getting Started. Again, we're trying to continue to improve our Getting Started. So background, the introduction, go to Learning. On the Learning tab, this is where you can find all of our previous meetings, videos that are hosted in a variety of different places. They're all central here. If you wanted to look at, for example, the agentic workshop that we did at RSA, so it's available on demand here, each of the sessions. So you can go in and take a look at each of those as well. So there's a lot of resources here. In addition to the Getting Started, you can just go ahead and, again, it's a great place to just go to Getting Started and work your way through that menu list. The last item there is, of course, our resources. So it has, as Steve was pointing out, how to contribute, when the meeting is happening. This meeting, we'll be adding more meetings. So all of the meetings for each of the projects will become public, and we'll have those in a central place as requested. And then, again, the resources. So when you go to the resources tab, that gets you directly to all of the resources that the project has published.
All right, folks. Great meeting. Great progress. Everybody, if you're in the US, have a great holiday. Take it easy. Have some barbecue. Be careful with fireworks.
Yeah.
We'll catch up soon.
Yeah, come back with all your
Thanks,
fingers.
everyone.
Thanks all. Thanks for checking out our bi-weekly meeting podcast. If you'd like to stay up to date on all the latest news for the OWASP Generative AI Security Project, please click subscribe. And of course, we'd appreciate it if you'd share with a friend to grow our community. We'll see you in 2 weeks.